When the Santa Claus 2 hit theaters in 2002, audiences thought they were getting harmless holiday cheer, a sequel about workshops, wish lists, and wedding bells, until the film revealed itself as something stranger. A movie obsessed with doubles, fractured identity, and what happens when systems replace soul. The replacement Santa engineered to feel wrong, the mirrors that multiply whenever Scott lies, and the reindeer that refuse commands from anyone lacking heart. These are 19 hidden details you completely missed in the Santa Claus 2. Number 1. The opening boardroom scene foreshadows the entire plot. Scott Calvin sits in a corporate conference room while executives drone about budgets and bottom lines. He nods along, pretending to listen, but his mind is elsewhere. Already gone. The scene lasts less than 2 minutes, but it's a perfect miniature of the film's entire conflict. A man physically present but mentally absent. The same split that later defines Santa versus Scott. Director Michael Lembeck shot the sequence with Scott slightly out of focus compared to the business people around him. His body occupies the chair, but his attention has already escaped to the North Pole. The movie tells you immediately that trying to live 2 lives will fail. Scott can't be half committed to either world, and the opening scene plants that fracture before the plot even begins. Number 2, the Mrs. Claus rule was invented for the sequel. The rule doesn't exist anywhere in the original film. Writers created it specifically to force Scott back into human vulnerability. The first movie established transformation through belief and responsibility, but the sequel needed a new obstacle, so the Mrs. Claus was written into Santa lore retroactively. Screenwriters Ken Daurio, Cinco Paul, and Ed Decter debated dozens of magical requirements before settling on marriage as the core conflict. Magic isn't the problem in this film. Isolation is. The rule exists to remind Scott that power without partnership leads to emptiness. And by inventing a clause that demands emotional connection, the sequel argues that even Santa can't do the job alone. Number 3, Toy Santa is designed to feel unnatural on purpose. His smile stretches slightly too wide. His posture stays unnaturally rigid. Every gesture feels rehearsed instead of instinctive. The filmmakers wanted him to register as a mall Santa who learned how to move but never learned how to care. Tim Allen played both roles, but the performances are polar opposites. As Scott, Allen allows warmth, hesitation, and doubt to soften his movements. As Toy Santa, he eliminates all spontaneity. Every laugh arrives a beat too late. Every kindness feels procedural. Makeup artist V. Neal added subtle differences to Toy Santa's appearance, making his cheeks slightly more painted, his eyes slightly more glassy. Toy Santa looks like Santa. He sounds like Santa, but something fundamental is missing, and your brain registers the absence before you can name it. Number 4, Bernard's reduced role was intentional. David Krumholtz was available for the sequel, but writers deliberately minimized Bernard's screen time. The decision wasn't about scheduling conflicts or actor availability. It was narrative strategy. Bernard represents Scott's moral compass at the North Pole, the voice that challenges shortcuts and demands integrity. Without him present, Scott lacks guidance. The North Pole feels colder, more bureaucratic, more vulnerable to corruption. Krumholtz appears in only a handful of scenes, and each time he's framed as distant or preoccupied. His usual sharp wit is muted, replaced with worry and hesitation. The visual language reinforces his absence even when he's on screen, because the film needed Scott to make mistakes without someone catching them early. Bernard's reduced presence creates the vacuum that Toy Santa exploits. Number 5, Scott's double life is framed with mirrors. Whenever Scott lies or splits time between worlds, reflective surfaces appear in the frame. Glass walls in his office, bathroom mirrors, car windows. The visual language reinforces that he's already fractured before Toy Santa ever arrives. Cinematographer Adam Kane used mirrors to show Scott arguing with himself, his reflection often slightly out of sync with his movements. In one early scene, Scott's reflection lingers in the glass for a fraction of a second after he turns away, a subtle effect most viewers never consciously notice. Production designer Jim Dultz filled Scott's human spaces with reflective materials to emphasize the constant splitting of identity. The mirrors aren't decorative, they're diagnostic. They show a man divided long before the plot forces him to choose. Number 6, the elf assembly line mimics a corporate factory. Under Toy Santa's control, the North Pole transforms into something cold and industrial. Clipboards multiply, protocols replace creativity, efficiency becomes the only metric that matters. The visual shift is gradual but unmistakable. Early scenes show elves working with joy, improvising, laughing. Later scenes show them standing in lines, waiting for instructions, moving with mechanical precision. Jim Dultz added fluorescent lighting and metal fixtures to the workshop as Toy Santa's influence spreads. The space begins to resemble a factory floor instead of a magical workshop. Toy Santa doesn't ruin Christmas with evil, he ruins it with management. The film quietly critiques systems that value productivity over purpose, rules over relationships. Number 7, Toy Santa never laughs naturally. Every laugh is is delayed, mechanical, or slightly off rhythm. Tim Allen was instructed to make them feel programmed instead of spontaneous. Watch closely during Toy Santa's scenes, and you'll notice the laughter always arrives after the moment has passed. A child makes a joke, and Toy Santa processes it, calculates the appropriate response, then delivers a laugh 3 seconds too late. The timing feels wrong in a way your brain registers subconsciously. Allen studied animatronic performers and theme park characters to find the exact balance between human and artificial. He wanted Toy Santa to feel like a machine learning emotion through observation, but never truly experiencing it. The laughs aren't cruel, they're hollow, and that makes them far more unsettling. Number 8. Bernard's tone changes after Scott leaves. Before Scott departs for the human world, Bernard speaks with warmth and gentle sarcasm. After Scott leaves, his dialogue becomes clipped and procedural. Krumholtz adjusted his performance to reflect Bernard's growing discomfort with the situation. In early scenes, Bernard teases and challenges Scott with affection. In later scenes, his responses are short, formal, and drained of humor. The warmth only returns once Scott reclaims the role and restores balance. It's a subtle shift, but Krumholtz plays it consistently. Bernard isn't angry, he's resigned. He knows the North Pole is collapsing under Toy Santa's rule, but he's powerless to stop it. And the tonal shift in his voice tracks the deterioration in real time. Number 9. Toy Santa only cares about rules, not outcomes. He enforces the naughty or nice list with absolute literalism. No exceptions, no context, no empathy. A child makes one mistake, and they're naughty. No appeals. The film uses Toy Santa to contrast rigid systems with human judgment. Scott bends rules when circumstances demand compassion. Toy Santa never bends. He sees Christmas as a binary equation, goodness measured in checkboxes instead of intention. Several scenes show Toy Santa reviewing files with cold efficiency, marking children naughty for minor infractions. He flips through dossiers like a judge passing sentences, each verdict final and irreversible. He doesn't question the system, he worships it. And the film argues that morality without mercy isn't morality at all, it's just accounting. Number 10. Scott's beard only grows after he accepts the rules. Early in the film, Scott shaves his Santa beard, and it takes hours to regrow. Later, once Scott fully commits to finding Mrs. Claus and embracing his role, the beard regrows almost instantly after shaving. The difference reflects belief strengthening the magic. The more Scott accepts his identity as Santa, the more responsive the transformation becomes. Makeup artist V. Neal used different application techniques to show the beard's progression. Early regrowth appears patchy and slow. Later, regrowth happens in fast, lush waves. The progression isn't just cosmetic, it's emotional feedback made visible. The visual shift mirrors Scott's internal journey. Magic doesn't work through obligation, it works through commitment, and the beard becomes a physical marker of Scott's acceptance. Number 11. The naughty list only grows when Toy Santa takes over. Background shots show the list expanding exponentially under Toy Santa's leadership. Before his arrival, the naughty list remains stable. After he assumes control, it balloons. Children who would have received second chances are marked naughty permanently. Toy Santa's rigid enforcement creates more failures instead of fewer. The film quietly critiques binary morality systems that refuse nuance. Rules without compassion don't improve behavior, they just increase condemnation. By the film's midpoint, the naughty list has tripled in length, scrolls of names spilling across workshop tables. Production assistant notes reveal that the prop department created actual lists that grew longer in each consecutive scene, tracking the damage in visual detail. The expanding list becomes a countdown to Christmas's collapse. Number 12. Curtis represents blind loyalty. He never questions authority, he only follows it. Curtis is eager, well-meaning, and utterly obedient. Toy Santa exploits this immediately. Curtis doesn't serve evil willingly, he serves the system, and when the system changes, he adapts without protest. Spencer Breslin played Curtis as genuinely helpful, never malicious. The character believes he's doing the right thing by supporting Toy Santa because Toy Santa holds the title. Curtis salutes every order, executes every command, and never asks why the North Pole suddenly feels different. He mistakes obedience for virtue, confusing following rules with doing good. The film uses Curtis to explore how good people enable bad systems. The elves aren't villains, they're loyal, and loyalty without discernment becomes complicity. Number 13. The snow globe visual signal control. Toy Santa is often framed inside enclosed, glass-bordered spaces, command centers, observation rooms, offices with transparent walls. Adam Kane used these frames to make Toy Santa look like he's trapped inside a snow globe, watching Christmas instead of participating in it. The visual motif repeats throughout the second act. Toy Santa stands behind glass, issuing orders, observing outcomes, but never engaging emotionally. In one scene, he peers through frosted windows at playing children, separated by the barrier, unable to cross into their world. The distance isn't just physical, it's existential. He controls Christmas the way way a child shakes a snow globe, manipulating a world he doesn't inhabit. The framing reinforces his fundamental disconnection. He can see everything, but he feels nothing. Number 14, the reindeer don't respect Toy Santa. Under Toy Santa's control, the reindeer hesitate, resist commands, and move out of sync. Behavior never seen with Scott. The filmmakers staged this deliberately. The reindeer respond to emotional presence, not authority. Toy Santa issues flawless instructions, but the animals never fully accept him as Santa. Animal coordinator Larry Madrid trained the reindeer to respond to different handlers with varying levels of enthusiasm. With Tim Allen as Scott, the reindeer moved fluidly. With Allen as Toy Santa, they dragged, balked, and broke formation. Even Comet, normally the most obedient, refuses to make eye contact with Toy Santa during flight sequences. The detail quietly reinforces the film's central rule. Santa's power comes from belief and empathy, not control, and the reindeer know the difference. Number 15, Toy Santa never enters Carol's space. In every shared scene, Toy Santa is framed physically apart from Carol. Blocking reinforces that he cannot connect emotionally. Even when they occupy the same room, camera placement keeps them separated by furniture, doorways, or distance. Michael Lembeck worked with blocking coordinator to ensure Toy Santa never shares intimate framing with any human character. He's always isolated within the composition. In one telling moment, Carol reaches toward him and the camera cuts before contact is made, denying even the suggestion of touch. The visual separation mirrors his emotional incapacity. Toy Santa can simulate Santa's duties, but he can't simulate love. And the framing makes sure you feel that absence, even if you never notice it consciously. Number 16, Scott's panic attacks mirror his first film doubts. Same pacing, same frantic humor, same physical tells. The sequel deliberately loops emotional beats from the original to show unfinished growth. Scott didn't resolve his identity crisis in the first film. He postponed it. The panic attacks return whenever Scott tries to split himself between roles. Tim Allen recreated specific mannerisms from the 1994 film, hand gestures, breathing patterns, and vocal rhythms that signal Scott's internal collapse. He even mirrors the same defensive laugh he used 8 years earlier when denying his transformation. The repetition isn't lazy writing, it's intentional mirroring. Scott is reliving the same crisis because he never truly solved it the first time, and the sequel forces him to finish what he started. Number 17, the wedding is time to restore balance. Scott only regains Santa's full form after choosing partnership. The transformation doesn't happen when he defeats Toy Santa. It happens when he commits to Carol. Power returns when responsibility is shared. The movie argues that Santa should never work alone. The wedding isn't just a romantic conclusion, it's a structural correction. The ceremony itself becomes the catalyst, vows spoken triggering immediate physical change. Scott's beard fills in completely mid-sentence. His suit brightens, his posture straightens. Elizabeth Mitchell, who plays Carol, doesn't just witness the transformation, she completes it. Magic recognizes the shift from solitary burden to shared purpose. Magic flows through connection, not isolation, and the film saves Scott's complete restoration for the moment he accepts that he needs someone beside him, not behind him. Number 18, Toy Santa melts. Because he was never real, he isn't destroyed, he dissolves. Snow and wires collapsing into formlessness. Visual effects supervisor Michael Lantieri designed the melt to feel like a snow sculpture giving up, not a villain being defeated. Toy Santa was never alive, he was belief without heart, structure without soul, and when Scott reclaims his role, there's no space left for the imitation. The melting isn't violent, it's inevitable. His face doesn't contort in agony or register defeat, it simply softens, features blurring back into the raw materials that formed him. There's no dramatic explosion, no final words, just quiet dissolution, a symbol of belief without intention collapsing under its own emptiness. Magic requires more than form, it requires purpose, and Toy Santa never had one. Number 19, the final scene confirms Santa is a role, not a curse. Scott smiles in both worlds. No panic, no split, no frantic juggling. He's present at the North Pole and present in his human relationships. The movie ends by resolving the question it asked in the opening boardroom scene. Can Scott be both? The answer is yes, but only if he stops treating them as separate lives. The final shot shows Scott comfortable in his dual identity, no longer fighting the role, but inhabiting it fully. He moves between worlds without the mirror anxiety, the frantic checking, the constant verification that plagued him earlier. The Santa Claus 2 wasn't about finding a wife, it was about finding balance, and the last frame confirms that Scott finally has. The Santa Claus 2 looks like a simple holiday sequel, but it's really a story about leadership, empathy, and what happens when rules replace replace humanity. From invented clauses that demand connection to reindeer that refuse hollow authority, from mirrors that track fractured identity to color-coded moral collapse, the film carries more architectural precision than most family movies ever attempt. Which hidden detail surprised you the most? And what Christmas movie should we uncover next? Because sometimes the truth in holiday films isn't wrapped in tinsel, it's hidden in the details.